How was that?
He said, I loved it.
She kept taking me to her bosom. What was her name? CC.
You said CC. Oh, we live. We are going live.
I want to try this.
No, girl, let it go. It's, I think, because we're Hi, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Meet the Shu. I'm Shade.
I'm Neana.
And today we have two guests. We have the Black Democrat and the Black Republican. And what I want to know, what made you guys come up with that name? And why did you start a podcast? How did you guys come together? You knew each other growing up. Y'all just met each other. It's just seems so odd, the Black Republican and Black Democrat. So I want to know, what's your issues, or do y'all ever come together with something, or you always divided?
Good question. I'll let Jamar kick it out because he's kind of the brainchild of the podcast.
Okay.
So BRBD started back in 2014.
Okay.
And it was derived as a political show that was going to be on public access, and it was for black folks. It was for our people, to give them a perspective of politics from black folks. Well, we wanted to purposefully give a slanted view, give a Democratic view, give a Republican view of it, and the moderator at the time, it was his idea. I can't even now take credit for it being. It was his idea. He wanted to be the moderator of a political show that pitted a Republican and a Democrat together. He just was, not very knowledgeable with politics, and so sometimes it would show, and so me being me, I could, I know I'm 5'5", but I, got broad shoulders, so I try to carry him, and help, but it didn't. But he left town. He got a good job in California. He left, and so the co-host and I were given the chance to do it on iHeartRadio.
Oh, nice.
And so we did it on iHeart for about a year and a half.
How was that experience?
That what it was some bullshit in the game too, because iHeart is such a big conglomerate that they don't think about the little folks, right? And so the station that I was, so it was iHeart, but KTLK was the station where we actually did the show from, right?
Okay.
And so the program managers never called me, never asked how the show was doing.
So they were getting the numbers behind your back, or were you following your analytics?
Well, we were, and I don't know if I told you, so I'm quite proud. We were the number one rated show in that time slot,
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so we did that.
So you were doing podcasts before it was really even popular?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
and we would put a camera on a tripod and stream it. So
Right.
we've been doing this for forever. Look, I love to talk, and I love my community. I love my people. I love politics. I've been in love with politics since I was in the 6th grade.
Okay.
So this is what I do. This is what I love, and I want to give a perspective for our people to understand.
Right.
And so every week. I've been through. I think you're the third, fourth.
I might be the fourth.
I think you're the fourth.
Oh, my
Fourth or
goodness.
five.
You've been running through the host,
I think
huh?
it's my fourth marriage right here.
And so wait, okay, explain to the people how is that? How is that building a relationship and then falling out and falling back in, and then dang, I should have kept them, but dang, I don't want to disrespect, my new brother. You know what I'm saying? How do you handle that? Like, or how do you come up with? He may feel a certain way as far as the angle of the way the show is going. Like, do you the boss? You just say
No.
Oh, okay.
No. This is our show.
Okay,
I've never
yes.
taken the adjective that this is my show. Right?
Okay.
It's my baby, right? But it's our show. Each co-host that I have, it's our show. Okay. And I want you to be at home with our show. But you're supposed to contribute. I've had co-hosts that don't contribute. And so this dude, since he's became the co-host, has gone above and beyond contributions to the show. And so that's what I love. We usually meet every Thursday and have lunch and brainstorm ideas and try to come up with sponsors and things like that. So that, to me, shows me that he has his heart in it. He wants to see the show be successful. Right. And the studio that we're in now, that we all share, they also are the supporting people behind that. And so that's different, too. You know, the folks at iHeart, it was different. Again, they never called to see how I was doing and what did I need, and you know, it was different. Okay. You know, and I was happy to be on there because if you go back and look now in their podcast, I'm still up there. You know,
Right.
Good.
but the one co-host I was glad to get rid. The first.
Oh, here go the juice, y'all. Here go the juice.
Homeboy was an exaggerator, right?
Okay.
You know, and when he left, he came up with this lame excuse that his wifey was upset that he spent Saturdays because it was our show used to originally air on a Saturday,
Okay.
and it was in the evening time. I think it came on at 6
6,
o'clock.
something like that,
Okay.
And so you know we get there at 5. I like to. I actually used to be on time, so I get there at 5
On a Saturday?
Right on Saturday,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And so at the time, my wife would be upset because my boy was playing AAU football or basketball, and so
You're
our
missing that.
schedule would be planned around mine because wherever we was at, and you know most of these AAU, you know, you out in Edina or EP.
Yes, different places.
So don't tell me about your wife getting upset because our whole schedule that Saturday would have to be. We would have to pay sometimes double. So look, don't go there.
Wow.
But he was just looking
Late.
for an excuse to get out, and he should have manned up and like, hey, I don't want to do this because we also had the opportunity to do a nightly show,
Oh, wow.
and so he didn't want to do that. You know, he complained about the pay there. You know, because I mean it was a one day a week. They didn't give you, but you know, kid was. But
It was
I do it for the love of being on
Right.
the air.
Because that was
Right.
what you wanted to do.
But we had
right.
a time to do a nightly show and get money, but he didn't want to do it. So you know, you got to be quiet. And then the other young lady, Priya Samsadar, she left to go do bigger things with the Republicans. Damn it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she got a good job with Republican. And I hope that I know it. You know, the fact that she was on the show gave her a bigger spotlight could spotlight how smart she was. I love the girl. We still talk now. Priya's my homie, and she's a smart girl. So I was glad that the show gave her a catapult to her position that she takes with the Republicans. She worked for the. She works for the state now, but the original job went to the GOP. So she was like, I think she worked comms or something with
Something
GOP.
like that, yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm happy to have this guy because again, his contributions have been. Well, I'm sorry, I can't neglect. I'm sorry, y'all. I told you we've been through like 6 of these hosts.
Yeah, no, you actually. I've been counting. I'm the 6th, dog.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm the
You like
sixth.
6 and
Because
a half.
I'm like,
6
wait,
and
you
5.
only
Ooh, I
said
thought
2.
you
Now
said
where?
4.
There
Either
was
1, 2,
Don.
3.
No, he
There was
said
Don,
right.
Priya, Pat, him. So, no, Vern.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Damn.
7?
Lord have mercy. I've
Like
been
me
too
to
many
the
times.
So
But
wait,
he-
how
he
long
don't
did they
count.
last? How
long did they last?
Well, Don was the original host, so he lasted a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
Priya probably would still be the host, but she got that job.
Right.
Pat so that's when so iHeart fired me because I got called nigger on Facebook by a chick that I knew.
Okay.
And you know how you get called nigger, you know.
Right.
I call okay. And you don't call me nigger.
Right.
And then you don't respond back.
Especially this nigga, you know.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, my God.
So I mean, I went off on the lady, right?
Right.
So you know how white women can do. She calls the boss at iHeart, tells him how afraid of me she is, and just so on
But
and so
she
forth.
disrespected you.
And I found the screenshots the other day.
did you?
Just yesterday, I found
Oh,
them.
yeah, you need
Showed
to
them
show
to
them.
showed them to the big boss.
Uh-huh.
Well, Jamar, we expect more out of you. You know, you work for iHeart, and I'm like, she called me nigga.
Right.
And I'm showing you the well, we're gonna suspend the show for 2 weeks. I'm like, well, I have a co-host, so let him co-host. No, it's your show. I'm like, no, it's our show. Let him co-host.
Right.
Just 2 weeks. Well, y'all, 2 weeks went by, 3 weeks went by.
Wow.
So almost 4 weeks went by. I had to call him. Long story short, he talking about the big wigs want to let my show go. It's like, no, you wanted to, and you just couldn't man up.
Yeah.
3-4 weeks ago and tell me that you didn't want the show around.
Right.
Because I don't take no shit, y'all. I mean, I'm a great dude, but I'm going to tell you how I feel.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it's just who I am. And I expect you to do the same with me.
Right.
Don't sugarcoat shit with me.
Right.
Especially if we cool. You know how we are in our
Yes.
community. You know what I'm saying? We don't sugarcoat shit, especially when we know each other.
Right.
Keep it real. And so sometimes white folks can adjust to that. You know, they want you to assimilate to how they do things. And I do. You know, I didn't swear on the, because I heard we didn't swear because I want to say, I think ass or
Yeah,
you know,
because it's
Oh my God.
they would, because they would snatch you. They would
Really?
find you.
Oh.
yeah,
for real.
FCC will find you.
Yeah, they would find you. Oh,
Well, then how how come the Breakfast Club gets?
Because I think Breakfast Club does
and they're
XM, but then
yeah, on XM.
like when they're on FM, then that's like a completely different
It's
segment.
cleaner.
Yeah, it's cleaner.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
So
has
like
to be.
that's how a lot of these get around. But I mean, podcast is different. You know, podcast you say whatever you want. You know, only thing you ever got to be conscious of is if you're streaming on Facebook, there's their community guidelines, or YouTube, there's their community guidelines, and then like on obviously when we run our stuff, they might put this on this local TV station here. So sometimes we got to be kind of like careful, but it's on later at night,
Right.
So maybe we can get away with some,
But not every bloop, bloop,
Yeah,
bleep,
not
bleep, bleep.
everything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I tried to learn that because podcast, I'm like, oh yes,
Right. You can
podcast.
say what you want to.
Right.
Huh?
No,
Wow.
you
But
can't.
I try to watch my language so that, you know, because, you know, we want the show to go places, right?
Right.
But even if it doesn't, I do it for the love of community and for the love of being able to use a platform, having a platform to say what I feel, right? So I don't care if we don't go national or do anything. You know, I love doing it with this guy.
Okay.
And, you know, because let me say this, you know, his contributions, y'all, we had 28,000 new likes and new people.
Wow.
Oh, it was 60,000 in October, and then
Me.
All right. He knows all the
right.
analytics.
yeah, no, because
Good,
I mean
though.
I care about
You
it.
studied.
Right?
Right, you care.
When I came on the show, I came on as a guest last
Right.
year, and I was talking about Trump,
Which he has been on he was on my
on the
iHeart
radio show.
Yeah,
He was
Oh,
on my
wow.
iHeart radio show
Yeah.
one time too.
'Cause he's a smart dude.
And so when I got invited on to talk about Trump, you know, came on, and then afterwards we were kind of talking. He's like, "Why don't you keep coming back?" He's like, "That was good," you know. And so I was like, "For sure." And then you know things happened with the other co-hosts, and he kind of just like whatever, just wasn't showing up. And Jamar's like, "Do you want to be a co-host?" And I was like, "Yeah." You know, I don't want to push nobody out though.
Right.
Like I for real, I was like.
I pushed the dude out.
I was like, hey, I was like, we can three-wheel it. Like that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be the more like analytical Republican,
Right.
And the other co-host, you know, he can just be out of pocket Republican, be who he is, you know.
Right.
But it is what it is. I'm glad because I like to have the opportunity to talk about real stuff, you know.
Yes.
Like when you kind of asked earlier, like how do you guys kind of go about it? The funny thing is Jamar and I do very little show prep. And I mean, like
Right.
we talk about stuff like the week before. We might talk to each other throughout the week. And we just want it to be real, though. You know what I'm saying? We want it to be real. We want to have honest dialogue and conversation. And at the end of the day, I think the important part is that we both come together and say, here's these shared things that we all believe in. And then here's your way you want to do it. Here's my way. And we're gonna debate. We're gonna have a good argument because I think at the end of the entire process, when you're trying to have a conversation about politics, about life, it's about finding what's the best way to move forward. Because if I'm naive or egotistical enough to believe that I have every answer to every problem, I mean that's how dictators are created, right?
Right.
I mean, like for real, like if you
Yeah.
think that you know the answer to every single thing and then you don't need anybody else's input, I think that's bad. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, you better be listening to what other people are saying because you might be wrong.
Right.
I think that you use those core beliefs to guide you forward.
Yeah.
But you might not know something. Like just today, actually, was supposed to be a 20-minute kind of interview on this other dude's podcast. And this is a brother that's been around. You know, he said that when MLK Jr. got assassinated, he was 15, right?
Wow.
So this
Okay.
cat's been around, and he was in Detroit. He was in Chicago for a while, and he does his own thing in politics. He knows all these people. Like he knows these people. We had this conversation, and he's a conservative. We started talking about racism, and he's like, you got it twisted, brother. He's like, don't let these white people tell you that racism like doesn't affect. And I said, listen, I don't let white people tell me anything. I'm half white, but I'm a individual thinker, right? I'm critical about stuff. But the point is that during this conversation, he was telling me about his experiences of getting beat down, whooped by the cops, and like all this different stuff. And I said, listen, I think you come from a different generation and era.
Right.
And my beliefs are still this way. And he's like, as long as you stand by what you believe. But my point of that conversation was that we had differing opinions, even though we still had, like, we both said we're conservative, but we just had different types of experiences. And so, like, we and him talked about it, and I said, you're not going to change my mind on certain things, and I'm open to hearing where you came from and what you're about, but, here's where I'm at and here's what it is. And that's kind of how me and Jamar roll, like we might get heated up during a podcast episode,
right?
You know what I'm saying? But we dap it out and we talk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Communication.
it is how we are.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to get excited about stuff. I mean, we're black.
That's how we do it, right?
That's how we do.
Yeah.
We talk. We let people know how we feel. You ain't really hiding your feelings or anything like that. And so that's how the show works. It's just about being honest, having real conversations. We're still gonna disagree on stuff. We might walk away and he's gonna still be like, whatever this dude thinks.
And sometimes I have to, when I think that I'm wrong, I'm man enough to apologize. Right?
Yeah.
I like
because
that.
like I had to last week because I thought I said something on air that could be interpreted as wrong. I said anyway, it wasn't important, but I thought about it. It was on my mind. So when we met the next day on Thursday, I was like, dude, I gotta apologize. He's like, for what? And I'm like, for saying such and such, such and such, because it was on my mind. And he didn't pay it any attention, but it dug on me, because again, I'm raised good. My parents are still married, right? And I'm if you call my dad right now and tell my dad I'm being disrespectful, my dad thinks I'm 16.
Okay.
Right?
And
know what I'm saying?
you straighten up like you 16, don't you?
Because my pops still don't play.
Right.
For real. And it's again, I can't say it enough that I do it for us. We need black folks. I get so tired of hearing my vote don't count. Okay. And it's like, of course it does.
Right.
If your vote didn't count, why do you think they go through so much to suppress your vote? Because your vote counts.
Yeah. What do you think about the new laws that are coming into play with voting? Like, how it's affecting. It's not a Democrat or a Republican thing. It is really just people, right? It's about the people now, right? Meaning that they're putting all these. It's in Georgia. But they're putting like stipulations everywhere, every state,
Texas,
right?
Texas too. Yeah, absolutely.
On how long you're standing in line, and you can't have no food, and I mean the line is gonna be long at all times.
I just learned last week that Minnesota has that law too. That's on the books here.
Really?
Yes, that I can't give you water, I can't feed you. It's considered
so anything that has
influence.
Value, anything that has a value to it, you can't give away because it's considered like vote buying or bribery.
Yes.
Right. And you can see it from that aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
Not water and something to eat. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
think not.
folks when standing in the line, because I told him to the story. My niece's birthday was on the 2nd, and so 17 years ago, she was born on the day John Kerry lost to George Bush, and my sister refused to get out of the line until she voted. She would not. She's having contractions. She's all they didn't put her in a wheelchair. Wow. Like, no, I gotta vote first. They're like, let this lady vote first, right? But those restrictive laws are because we do not go about organizing and activating to use our vote, right? So see, guess what? They seen Georgia wasn't expected to go blue.
No.
Was not.
Right.
I didn't think we would win no damn
I didn't
Georgia.
think
Right?
so
We were
either.
sitting here. I didn't predict Georgia. It's always red.
Right.
But the fact that it went blue, and I think, as I told him, I think in a couple of years Texas will go blue too.
Yeah.
See, the country is
You really
brown.
think
Shifting.
Texas?
I
Yes.
think they're shifting.
Yes.
And why?
First
Why?
of all, I'm a Texas boy. Number one, I'm from Texas, so I'm there all the time. And if you look at the local elections,
Texas.
more Democrats are getting elected, and more people of color. I hate to use that word, but folks, black and brown folks are more of them are voting, right?
More aware.
So there's another aspect too, is that people are leaving from California, right?
Okay.
California has been out of pocket for a minute. Their taxes start getting higher, things like that. And so you got businesses that are leaving, and when a large corporation leaves, they bring all their people with, right? So
Right.
one specific instance is Tesla, right? Elon Musk, right? So he moved to Texas.
Oh, okay.
Right. And
Oh, he
so
did?
yeah, he did.
Okay.
And so all those people are coming with him. they're still going to have some operations in California, but moving to
The
Texas. And
majority.
so that's what's happening is you're seeing these shifts that are going on, and so they're getting more and more of an influx of newer voters that already have a propensity to vote Democrat. There's a second thing that's happening is that in certain areas you're actually getting Democrat areas start to flip to red. So it's weird because in the state itself you're getting an influx of Democrat voters, but existing Democrat voters were starting to flip. There was a couple of counties that flipped like a whole 40 percentage points from 2016 to 2020. And so it's interesting, like you asked, what do you think about these laws? So I think that for the majority, Republicans want to have more security.
Nah.
I believe that, yes, there are some people, okay? There are some people that look at it like, I don't want to blast Karl Rove because I don't know what the man's true feelings are, but they're strategic minds, and all they're looking at is the numbers, and they say, all right, here's what we think would happen, right, if we pass this law. We only want people to vote that have to think about it, that actually have to put some effort into it. We don't want just anybody for any easy reason, because if that was the case, right, everybody could get on their phone, you could get a ballot and you could vote. Some people believe that that's a bad thing. And the reason that they say that's a bad thing, because it's easier to just influence the negative attributes of somebody instead of saying, well, hey, you got to go and you got to show up at this time and you got to register to vote. So you got to put effort and energy into making this important decision. I can see both sides. I really can. I can see the side that says, make it as easy as possible so everybody can vote. And then people say, well, then how do we know that people ain't going to be influencing people? So like when we talk about this Minnesota law, let's say that someone thinks about it this way and they're like, you know what, if I hand out whatever your favorite joint is, right? Like, let's say it's a Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Right. Okay.
And so you go through and you're like, hey, we got these chicken sandwiches, and they're like looking at you, and
you dressed like a
Republican a Republican or a Democrat, or they know because you've been on TV. They're like, oh, this dude, and then they start talking, hey, who is that? Oh, that's this person. So even though they can't wear their paraphernalia, you can't wear like a button that says vote for this person, people might be like, oh, this dude. So he's like, you know what? I was wondering, this is who I'm going to vote for. So I can see that other side too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It could be used for nefarious purpose. I think the intent, though, to be completely honest, I think the real intent for most Democrats
is to suppress the vote.
Well, I said for Democrats.
Oh.
Is that they want to have more total voters. I get that.
Absolutely
They want
do.
to be more free. For Republicans, I think, again, it's security. There are some people, sure, that want to suppress the vote. But I think for the majority, it is a security issue. So if you can find
We had the most secure election in history.
So,
a Republican said
been
that.
secure.
So a security result, they say Republicans are only worried about money because most Republicans are rich, right? And so
not no more.
and so
There's been a huge shift.
How do you feel, let's shift a little bit, how do you feel about the laws of like prisons and them releasing, like I was talking to you about how they released Trump? More of the people voted for Trump and were upset that Trump lost, especially the ones that were released from prison, right? I know a lot of my people that were released from federal prison. Like, that's a great thing because they left in the 80s and the 90s, right? And to come home now and still be alive and still be able to enjoy
and be productive.
the world, right? They're still fighting right now to get a law changed that Biden has not even gave the understanding of what the law even means. BOP doesn't want the inmates back, right?
Sure.
But Biden hasn't gave the rule of what they're going to do. Like, these people been home almost 2 years now because COVID is almost 2 years old, right? And I'm talking about the guy we had on here before, Life in the Feds. He is one person that is still on house arrest. He's doing very well. He's working for a Coca-Cola corporation. So our advice to him was get the corporation to back you.
Sure.
Right? Because as long as you have money behind you, it doesn't seem like you'll be going anywhere. But the reason why I said Texas is because he said he was the judge, right? He was sentenced in Texas, right? That's where he got his time. He did 17 years, well 18 now because he's still on house arrest. They're telling him he can't get released until 2031.
Right.
A whole 10 more
No,
years.
10 more years.
But it was up to the judge to let him go. Like with the new law or whatever that he had got resentenced, the judge still don't want to let him go. And he made a lot of sense. It's like BOP, if they could write a letter to say, let this man go, is because you're in prison. I get to see your transformation. I see that you wake up every day.
Right.
You go work out every day. You come back, you eat. You don't intertwine in the TV room because that's where all of the drama happens, right? In the TV room or even in the gym too. Fights happen in the gym, right?
True enough.
And then you're not, in the unit amongst a lot of gossip. Like you're producing your life like as if you were outside law abiding, right? They pay attention to that, right? And so I'm saying that to say, what is your view on how you feel about, first of all, Trump releasing all those people, right? I mean, because somebody that hasn't dealt with a person being released like on a personal level, you guys, it wouldn't be you would have different views.
No,
right?
But mind you, these people are non-violent criminals.
No, look, I do know some. I mean, come on now. Yeah. Come on now.
You know
I mean,
somebody, you know
I was a
somebody
I was a
that
blood.
was
I
in
was,
jail, huh?
I've been in the life myself, right? I just was, I always liked myself to be pretty smart. I had a spot. I didn't sail on the corners, because I didn't want to go to jail. You know what I'm saying?
So you was a classy hustler.
Oh, I was a very classy hustler. You didn't know. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? You did not know I hustled, right?
Okay.
I think two things. I'm appreciative of what Trump did in releasing him. But let's give Trump some credit, but let's give his predecessor some credit too, was how he started changing those drug laws.
Right.
Because remember, there's a big sentencing difference between black and white folks. Crack cocaine
Right.
and
Powder versus
and
powder.
weed.
yes,
Yes.
which is nuts, right? But you figure it's the powder was for the white, the crack was for us, right?
Right.
So President Obama started changing those laws, and so between President Obama and some folks that was coming in, they wrote what's the name? What does Trump call it? The
First step back.
First Step
Step
Back.
Back.
They wrote that.
Look,
Right.
she was quick on it. She knew it.
No, and Trump, it sat on his desk for a while.
Right.
So actually, we need to give Kutch, how you say his name?
Kirchner.
That white dude.
Kirchner. Sorry.
Give him some credit because it was him and his
Him.
dad. His dad been in feds.
Right.
Was the reason why he pushed it, because that sat on Trump's desk for a while. So it
Yeah.
came from the previous administration
Yeah.
to Trump, and it sat on his desk for a while.
All the time. 4 years.
Hold on. Also, now we got to put this woman in perspective. Kim Kardashian.
What Kim did
Yeah,
was
but
She
Kim
was
the one-
very influential.
Yes.
They will not give her. They keep.
no,
She
I
was
think we should.
influential
pushing
to
this
Trump.
woman.
I think we should.
They keep pushing this woman to the entertainment part of it.
Well, look who she's married to, though.
I know,
Not-
but
is she divorced or is she separated from?
She
She's
says they're divorced. She
divorced.
says they're not.
But
Oh, okay.
the thing about what I do respect about her, no matter what, she's been going hard. She's been showing up. She's not sending nobody to speak for her.
No.
She went from out her beautiful home all the way. She wasn't dressed up, none of that. She went right to the White House to address the issue, right? And then she got another person that I knew personally that
You
I
know the
did
lady?
time with, Alice Johnson.
You know
yes.
her? You did time with her?
I did time with her.
Yeah.
She got her out. She did not fake with her. And guess what? Alice was, when they say that she was church, she was about church.
For real.
She didn't watch TV. She didn't know none of that. Anything that she knew about Kim Kardashian was from the youngsters telling her that's real.
'Cause she didn't watch no TV.
I was with her when she very first started, when she first got to the penitentiary, before the 20 years started. I was there at the beginning, right? And actually, we've traded TV days. And when she traded the TV days with me and anybody else in our unit, I lived on dorm 2 with her. She only wanted to watch church or anything thereof. And if something else caught her eye, then it would be someone telling her and she would maybe watch it because of what someone else is saying. But no, she was
That's beautiful.
all in the church, right?
Wow.
But I respect Kim Kardashian because she doesn't have to.
No.
Like I don't know where her
Where she
where
get
I
her
don't
drive
I
from.
never
Where it
heard
came
her
from?
say why she started doing
no.
It's from her dad, right?
it. Right.
So like
Robert?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He's a lawyer.
He was a
a
lawyer.
big time
OJ's
attorney.
lawyer.
yeah, so I'm saying that's where it stems from. Is
Right.
That idea of like that there's
Defending.
injustice that happens. Like I think back to
Why? Because of Uncle OJ?
I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I think for real. Because you also got to look to it, right? Like Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner is into that as well. You know, there's been these aspects when you ask about.
Oh, that's their new
How
daddy,
do I think
right?
as like a Republican? Yeah, new mommy,
New mommy,
new
daddy.
mommy, new mommy.
My daddy.
But there's been this aspect, right, where this idea that Republicans are rich, right? I think there was a time when that maybe applied more broadly, but there's been shifts, right? I think Democrats have done a good job at being able to control the cultural institutions, right? You look at all the major news corporations, right? Look at Hollywood, you look at music labels. They're no longer these Republicans. A lot of them are Democrats now, and they're using their money to be able to do these things. And so because of that, you see this switch now where you're starting to see that more working class people are starting to vote Republican. And Michael Moore, the guy that's, in Michigan, that filmmaker, he came out hard against Trump, and he said, but listen, he has the ear of these working class people. And if you guys don't listen and try and address these issues that he's going to come forward, you guys are going to lose. And so I think that when you talk about prison reform, right, when you talk about changing and addressing issues that exist within the system, Republicans have been resistant because we are about security. Like that's a pretty big thing for a lot of Republicans is security. And what you don't know, you have your adaptations, basically set by TV and popular culture. So there's this idea that like, oh, if you go to prison, like you're a bad person.
Right.
Yeah, there are bad people in prison. Don't get me wrong, right? But then there's a bunch of people that they were hustling, they were grinding,
Or didn't commit a crime at all.
There's that too. There's that portion of people that didn't commit a crime. But what do you do then once they're done? Because there are real things that we have to look at. We have to look at the amount of people that are in prison, right? The amount of people that are getting out of prison, and what are you going to do to try and facilitate the best possible chance for that person to assimilate back into society? Because if you don't address it, it's going to happen one way or another. And I think that Trump, because he had people in his ear, 100%, I agree that that's the reason why, is that he had people in his ear saying, hey, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to actually try and solidify yourself in certain aspects.
Yeah.
Now, personally, if he would have stopped, talking like a dipshit, right, and being disrespectful and tweeting stuff, I think he would have won re-election. So it's like he had these good things going for him, but he just couldn't get in. He kept getting in his own way.
Well, it all goes back to your surroundings, right? It all goes back to who was his circle, right? His inner circle was falling apart. His family's going against him. You know what I'm saying? His friends were going against him. So he's, in this time right now, as smart as a businessman as he is, like he's saying, he's going to win the next election.
Please, I know, right?
You like,
No.
I don't know. Like I said, it's a coin toss. Coin toss with
Between him and Biden.
Between just him and whoever, right? Because
Uncle Joe will win re-election.
You think?
Absolutely.
Sleepy Joe?
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
I don't know.
Look,
I don't know if
37%
I'm
approval.
even really happy with the things that he's done since he's been,
not re-
even though I'm a Democrat. I mean, I'm just I voted Democrat.
Yeah, that's real.
It's-
I
don't.
Well,
I
you
don't
gotta-
know if
He's
I-
not doing too
because-
much
and
of
I'm not
nothing.
really.
I can't.
Against,
He came right in and gave you. He came right in and did exactly what he said he was going to do. He came right in and gave you stimulus packages, which his predecessor could have done, and they didn't do it.
Right,
away.
yeah.
He gave you 2 so far,
Right.
and he's continued to battle with Republicans and Democrats to give you
Trump
more
gave-
money.
Trump
No.
gave one.
Nah,
Trump gave you one, and then wanna
he said
do
he was
that.
gonna sign. Remember, he said,
Right.
"I'm
He
not gonna
wanted-
give
and
y'all
on
another
it-
check until I win."
And then on the
Oh,
end,
yeah,
on
no,
the
he
way
wanted-
out,
he did.
on the way out, he want to
2,000.
give you $2,000 on the way out.
He wanted to.
Okay.
Oh, vote for me! I want to give you $2,000.
He said that he wanted to give the 2,000, but Mitch
On his way out,
Mitch
which-
McConnell and the other Republicans that fiscal policy were like, we can't do this. We can't just be giving money out like this. It's going to disincentivize people. But again, the people, right? In my opinion, I as a conservative, if you're going to advocate shutting down the government and not
Right.
letting people work, then
You have
you
to
better
compensate them.
come
Gotta
up with some money.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I looked at it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if you didn't shut it down in the first place, then I would agree that you don't want to just be giving people money. I
Right.
think that's a bad idea. But if you're going to be shutting stuff down, you better do something.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, people are going to be hurting and people
It's going to be
hurting
mayhem.
Watch the new infrastructure bill that just got passed. That's going to put some money into your pockets. That's going to provide jobs for the people. Now, Republicans used to always say when Trump was in office and other Republicans was in office that government doesn't create jobs. But, of course, Trump created so many jobs that black folks are happy and we live in big houses now. But this new infrastructure, I mean, I don't know where them niggas is at, but this new infrastructure bill will help. Look, I never root for any president to fail, even Trump's raggedy ass. I didn't root for him to fail because when he fails, we fail as a country,
Yeah,
right?
country.
So you gotta root for every president to do
Everyone.
well.
Yeah.
The
Right.
policies we can argue about, but we want him to succeed because he's an American. I think what happens though, Democrat, we lost our way with the Three Strikes Act. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So Democrats get so mired down because of these youngsters that come along and blame the Clintons for mass incarceration. Well, here's the thing,
do
though.
blame them.
But here's,
But I
I'm
think
glad.
it started before that.
But let me and thank you. And
It
here's why.
started before
And
that.
here's why when I hear that,
It
this,
started from Reagan.
here's why I say
or Bush.
Reagan number
Reagan.
one. Reagan and the
War
welfare
on-
moms
war
and the war on drugs was nothing but.
very.
That's how the harsh law started of crack cocaine versus powder was through the Reagan era. They changed the laws. They changed the federal laws to
Changed
imprison
the
us. See, we don't get treatment.
guidelines.
We get imprisoned for
Yep.
our addictions. Think about
Right,
that, right?
right.
So the Three Strikes laws was, check this out. What happened was black folks stopped voting locally. Black folks in 1995, when we got dubbed Murderopolis, I lost 3 homeboys. They didn't know each other. I lost 3 different homeboys in 93. Ridiculous, through the gun violence.
Right.
So plenty of black folks was like, look, we tired of this crap. We can't live. We ain't, first of all, here in Minnesota, let's keep it real. We kind of bougie in Minnesota, right? You know,
Right.
when you come from, Chicago and them states around, we don't know violence like that.
Right.
For real, right?
Right.
So when violence started, gun
Coming
violence
here.
specifically started erupting, you kind of like, oh my God, niggas is in the house somewhere, honey.
Okay.
But that worries you.
Yeah.
So
Right.
95, we had 98 murders.
Remember.
That was nuts.
Right.
So black folks around the country were saying, like, we got to do something. So Joe Biden and them came up with that law. But to me, it's the way that states interpreted and misused
Used
the
it.
law. And then we stopped voting.
Right.
Locally, we
Because-
don't vote. We vote. Oh, I voted for Clinton. I voted for Obama. Well, who did you vote for locally? Can you name your mayor?
Yeah.
Can you
Right.
name your alderman? Can you name your city council?
Right.
When you can't do that, that's
That's
how
the
the
problem.
laws got fucked up. That's how mass incarceration started because we stopped voting. So city council now your mayor and your governor can misuse that law.
Yep.
And we ain't doing nothing because we're not voting him or her out of that position to quit from misusing it.
But don't you think that it's on us as a community to inform the community how important legislation is?
Yes, it is.
Because they don't know. Like, kids don't understand that they can go and vote. Well, not the kids per se, but the parents can go and vote for the teachers of those districts. You
City
know what I'm saying? Who's
council
over
and all
right.
that.
The school board
People
members and all
don't.
that, yeah.
They don't understand that. They don't know that. You just know, growing up in school, president, Republican and Democrat. That's
real. That's
I've
real.
heard
Yeah,
that my
that's it.
whole
That's real.
life.
No,
Like,
that's
I
real.
never knew. I thought
Yeah.
that the judges, once I found out, when you
It
know
starts
That
on
you
the
can
inside
elect
in
a
your
judge.
community.
that you can elect a
Yeah.
judge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That you can elect the Supreme Court. Like, you don't know that, right? You
don't.
you don't know that at all. Okay. Another thing about y'all's podcast. What do you guys like? How do you guys are off the dome, like, basically, right? You don't really write anything. We don't really write anything
Yeah.
either unless we have to do
we just
research.
these flows, this free flow.
Right,
Okay.
free
Flows.
flow. But that, like you said, that's more genuine. That's how we are too. And a lot of people will say, like, why don't you have notes? Take notes. We do sometimes have to take notes, right?
Yeah.
And you do a lot of times when you're trying to find out about your guests, you want to do a little research.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be coming with a whole laundry list of, and I know that you went here in high school. And you want that to be
Right.
authentic coming out in our questions that we ask,
Right.
right? So, are you either one of you single?
I'm single now. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Who want to know?
No, I'm
No, right. He said, who
somebody
wanna know?
out there.
I've been married 17 years.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
And how do you have children?
No children.
No children. And so how, as you being a podcaster, because you have to be relatively around, a lot, especially as you guys grow, right? How does your significant, well, you're single, but how does she feel about that? Like,
So my wife has known from the time that I met her that I'm a hustler and a grinder. I met her when I was working for a pyramid scheme.
Oh, okay.
I used to work for one of those little shops that they go around with perfume and cologne in a bag.
All right.
You ever ran into those
Yes,
cats, right?
yes.
Used to be Centura, and then you know they
Oh,
also have
my
World
God.
Perfume.
Yeah.
So I worked for World Perfume in a little outfit out in Bloomington. So I came to the city when I was 18, and I worked my way up the pyramid, and I was an executive manager. So I was doing interviews,
and you had to recruit.
And I,
You had to- yeah.
well, no, actually, so they'd run ads in the paper.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you would answer the phone and like whatever. And so she was one of the people that came into the interview for the job. So that's how I first met my wife,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So
Okay.
that I don't care if you're working with a pyramid scheme, even though it might be like BS how it's set up.
Right.
You gotta hustle.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Right.
was working 90, 100 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, got to be out there. So going from that, you know, and before that, you know, when I was in high school, you know, in my small town, you know, I was dealing drugs and I was trying to make moves that way and move around. And how can I make a little bit of more money
Right.
on this and do this and that? I got busted, but all that different stuff. So I've always had this hustle grind mentality. So when I met my wife and I quit the pyramid scheme, she's always known that I'm trying to always put myself out there. And so when I went to college, I got involved in a college student group. I actually became the chair of my chapter, and then I became the chair of the state.
Okay.
And, you know, every once in a while, I got to go out to D.C. for this. You know, I went down to Brazil for a couple of weeks. I went out to Israel. You know, I'm always out there moving around.
Okay.
And when I'm in the Twin Cities, you know, I'm involved in politics. So, and I do stuff not just locally, sometimes at a state level. So I've been to every county in Minnesota. I've been to probably every city of more than 3,000 people in Minnesota. And my wife has been there because she knows that these are things that I care about,
And
that
it's
I'm
important
passionate
to
about.
you.
Right.
And so, you know, it's about finding a good balance. And now that I'm 37, you know, I don't really go out with my homies, right? Like,
Right.
I go out and I'm doing either work. I'm involved in the Lions Club, which is a volunteer organization. You know, I do the podcast. I do politics, and
Right.
that's just what I do. But my wife, she's supportive of it. You know,
Good. That is
if you
good.
got someone like that, like you lucky, you blessed. You know,
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's what it's
Yes.
like. She knows what it is. She knows that at the end of the day, I'm only gonna do things that are gonna better us.
Right.
So whatever
As a
that
couple.
is, she's down with. She supports
That's
it.
good.
My
That's
ex-wife
good.
hated the shit, okay? She hated
she?
politics.
Whoa.
And, you know, because a lot of times I didn't make money off of it, right? You know,
A lot of broke stuff.
like I always tell her now,
Okay.
like you left me at the wrong point now.
Yeah,
See,
okay, she
now-
left- right.
See, now I'm getting it. Now.
Right, okay.
Okay. So, you know, but that's what happens, you
Yeah.
know. You have to grind, right? And she didn't like it. And I get it, you know, because she was the bigger breadwinner.
Okay.
And but I, you know what? I always hustled, right? I mean, I hustle something, right? I'm gonna sell everything on me. No, that's another show. No, but I try to make sure I pull my weight because that's how my daddy raised me, right?
Right.
Now that's dignity in work, but the bills got to be paid, right? And so for real, you got to do what you got to do. I ain't never been ashamed to go knock on white folks' door to say, go get in programs that's gonna help pay rent,
That's right.
get
Okay.
diapers, and
Everything
Yeah.
for free.
Okay.
I might have to, you know, I might put my hood on while I'm, you know, but I'm going to these places. I'm going, you know.
Okay, so you put the hood
but then
on,
when you
right.
see somebody you know, you take the hood off like, oh, okay, well, what
Right,
they gonna say?
what
Shit,
they
you
gonna
here
do?
too.
Yeah,
You
they
here
here
too,
too.
right.
You here too. So,
Right.
so I just, you know, when you say grind and, you know, I mean, for real, you know,
That's
because I
basically-
grew up I grew up very middle class. My mom retired from Honeywell. My dad retired
Okay.
from Liberty Carden. So I didn't want for anything as a kid. I didn't know what struggle was till I became an adult. That's when
The
you
real
lights and
grown stuff,
things
yeah.
that you get that
Yeah.
eviction underneath the door like, oh, shoot.
Right.
Okay.
When I became an adult. So it was different for me, right? But I think, though, it's our responsibility. It's my responsibility as a black man to make sure. So I'm a father of 4. I got 3 girls and a boy. My boy just turned 19 yesterday. It's my responsibility. It's our responsibility as black men is to make sure we are telling other black men that there are better ways to do it, right?
Yes.
Right.
But you can't go wagging your finger at them.
Right.
You've got to incentivize them because I tell them all the time when I'm speaking and they see you doing this or whatever, they think, you know, you're some Negro from Medina. I'm like, no, I live over north. I'm just like you.
Right.
I'm just like you, bro. I done been to jail for domestic. You know what I'm saying? I done been to jail for dope. You know what I'm saying? I done been in a police chase. I done been raided. You know, I got a scar right here and had my ass whooped by the police. I'm just like you, brother. But guess what? I took a different path, which you can take. That's why we were talking just last week on our show is there has to be enough of these bad programs that don't do anything because they're just there. Or you know the person. I know, brother. No. If that program is not successfully doing anything for our community, it's time to get rid of it.
Yes.
Right.
We are in dire straits
Yes.
where these young brothers don't have the life skills that it takes anymore, right?
Nope.
Young as they are, they
And
don't
then
have it.
why are they so lazy?
Because of their
Because
parents. Who do
the
they?
parents.
I mean, their parents are 20. I know we were young
We
parents,
talked about
but
it.
it's
on that
different.
last one.
It's
It's
like-
there's
it's
a different
like
breed of
right
kids.
now-
You were a different young parent than these young parents. You were 27, but you were 37.
Right. Right.
These parents are 27, but
It's-
21.
Right.
Right.
Or 17.
Or 17. You know, and don't get me wrong. They say, because somebody was saying, I don't smoke with my. I smoke with my kids. My kids know good and darn well not to disrespect. I mean, my kids like that. And yes, I do smoke with, because guess what? Two things. I don't want you smoking with any and everybody. And I'd rather have you smoking in the crib.
Right.
Than out there.
Because I had a cousin, y'all, that got wetted up. You know,
Yeah.
she didn't know it. And I'm talking about 1990 something.
Oh, wow.
Right
That's what
today,
they're doing
she
a lot of.
still
Still not
ain't.
back.
She's
I
still
swear
not
to-
back.
No.
Still not back.
Oh, my
Wow.
God.
No. So from that point on, I'm like, you know what? My kids gonna do it here. I demand the respect
Yeah.
because that's the problem too. We've got away from every parent want to be friends with their kids. I don't want to be. I want to be your parent. We can be cool, and I want to be understanding. I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah, I'm not your friend.
Ain't your damn friend, because that's where that disrespect comes from, for
Yeah,
real,
it
right?
does.
No, 100%. Like
Yeah, it does.
me and you, we've kind of talked about that, and I mean, I think maybe weed is different, right? Like,
Can you open that?
like weed is different, and then I would even say like maybe alcohol, depending on how it goes. But my experience has been when the parents crossing that role where they're doing, in my opinion, things that they shouldn't be doing, I think it kind of sets like this like chill, cool vibe with you, right? So like I remember my buddies growing up, the ones that whose parents would be out there, right? The ones that would let us come and party at their crib, like the kids would be super disrespectful with their parents like that, because like mom and dad might be getting twisted, you know, and I think sometimes it's hard to find that line, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, y'all,
Yes,
we
thank you.
are ending our show. We are very grateful for the guests
Yes.
that we had on tonight. We are going to put all the links in below to let you know how to reach them. Anything that any conversation that we had tonight and you want to elaborate about and you want them to come back
Back on our
show.
Yeah.
And if you're single, don't forget that. If
Oh,
you're
and
single,
then there's one that's single,
you're single.
right? And
Yeah.
he's taking applications.
I'm talking
Right?
about resumes,
So,
applications.
How can they find you?
612. Oh.
Oh,
No.
So if you're on Facebook, just look for Black Republican, Black Democrat Show. Instagram the same way. I just started TikTok. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't gonna expect me to dance, is you?
Maybe.
I got a
Dance,
bad
Sambo.
leg.
Okay, right?
But at the end of the day, if you go to our Facebook, you can kind of connect with us all there. I mean, we got a YouTube page too.
Okay.
Trying to get all those things kind of
Yes.
flowing. Our Instagram is super low. I'm jealous of y'all's Instagram. Y'all got some good followers.
we've been working.
Right,
Been
y'all been
working.
working, so we're still young with that different stuff. But yeah, come find us, come join the conversation. You know, we always try and take comments during our shows, and so if you got something that you want to ask a question about,
Yes.
and you're watching the live stream on ours, ask it, and we'll go through it. You know.
Yes. Thank you guys for tuning
Thank
in.
you for tuning in. See you next week.
And
Peace.
if you're watching Black Republican, Black Democrat, we're gonna keep going. We kind of want to do this mesh of a show where we'd always see the girls when we were leaving, see y'all, and I was like, y'all have some interesting stuff, and so keep watching on Black Republican, Black Democrat. We're gonna also swap in another guest too, but keep on watching and stay tuned. We're gonna go through our original kind of plan with what we do with our show.
Yeah, Meet the Shu. I love those girls. Yeah. They're good.
They're good.
Yeah.
Man. No, it's good stuff. And I know that one of our guests just got here, so our producer, he might not be swapping out the feeds yet, but yeah, it was crazy, right? From the last week, from our last show that we met, I've talked with a couple of different outlets, a couple of podcasts, a radio show in St. Louis, actually.
Oh.
And they're asking about the Minneapolis election results and stuff like that. So that's been pretty cool, kind of trying to have that conversation. But I didn't realize that at the Minneapolis City Council that they elected 3 Democrat Socialist Party followers, 3 of them. That's what I heard, 3.
How many? Who?
There's like a young cat that's I think in the 7th ward. Or 9th ward, in the 9th ward.
Oh, Jason.
Yeah, but I thought there was
He's
2
not
other ones too.
Well, he did vote for. He is a Bernie Sanders. I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess there's 2 other ones too, man. That's what I heard today.
Really?
That's what I heard. Yeah.
I guess there are socials list, but see y'all later.
Later, ladies.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for coming on, ladies. I guess they are.
Isn't that kind of weird? Do you think they're gonna do some weird stuff? Probably. Yeah. No. So I know that those of you that are tuning in, it's a little bit different because we're doing this crossover. So it's kind of a little bit different than we usually do with our show. You might also see that we're sitting in a different spot.
Yeah. Way different.
We in different spots. We usually on the other side of the table. But I think our producer was going to throw on kind of an intro music for us to kind of have like a
You
place.
didn't have your headset on.
Yeah.
He did
No,
already.
oh, did he already?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I ain't got my headset on.
He absolutely did.
Yeah.
I think that having those ladies on is always interesting because those when you see women that have served hard time,
Yeah.
and then come out and be productive members of society, and then still be cool like them and not be institutionalized. You're surprised because doing time like that can definitely institutionalize individuals, and I've seen it too many times.
Yeah, you know what? I want to definitely have the girls back on so we can kind of ask some more questions from our perspective. Because I do have some questions, like the fact that I think Neana served time with Alice Johnson.
Yeah, that was
crazy.
amazing to
Yeah.
figure out that she served time with Alice Johnson.
That was super crazy.
Yeah.
Since we have the live stream up and going, definitely want to thank a couple of our sponsors. We also have a special guest today, which is one of our sponsors, and we'll bring him on in just a little bit. But if you're thirsty or you need some postage stamps, where are you gonna go?
Well, you should go to the Webermart.
The what?
The Webermart.
Why are you gonna go to Webermart?
Well, you go to the Webermart because you get all your goods there. You just said you need to get eggs, you get biscuits, you can get bread, you can get sugar, you can get Kool-Aid, and you can also get you some mail service down there too.
That's right.
Yeah,
The Webermart.
packaging and different things like that. You go to Webermart and get that done. One-stop shop.
One-stop shop. Now, our next guest, he actually is gonna, be able to tell us a little bit about his business. But if you're needing some fresh gear, maybe you need the freshest gear. You need to grab yourself some new Jordans, some new Yeezys, right? You need to grab yourself some Makobe, get all geared out. You need to grab yourself some $1 Billion Baby. Head over to Just Imagine, and Just Imagine is located in St. Paul. 991 Payne Avenue in St. Paul. Stop in, see what they got. They got custom bags locally. They also have jewelry that's available. Now, if you're online and you're not in the St. Paul area, go to justimagine651.com. Justimagine651.com, you'll be able to see everything that Just Imagine has available. And when you go to checkout, you'll log in, and in the referral code, you put BRBD, and you'll get 10% off of your order. But again, if you need to get some new fresh gear, head over to Just Imagine. Speaking of Just Imagine,
Just imagine somebody from that store being here.
just imagine someone from that store being here, right now. Welcome to the show, Mr. Frazier. How we doing, man?
Thank you very much, guys. I'm doing actually excellent today.
Good. Oh, this dude got gold in his mouth too.
Oh,
Okay,
yes, sir.
they call you Red.
Yes, they call me Red.
I figured they call you Red. I figured they call you Red. This is the original Reds. You know, everybody. Yeah, right.
There's a bunch of Reds.
Yes,
but
but these are the original Reds.
Original Red.
Yeah.
Now, I know Red because he was referred in my professional career as an insurance agent. He was a referral, and I met with him, and we've just had all these conversations. And this young, bright man, we've just had real conversations about stuff. And so when we started doing the show, you know, I told him that, hey, we're doing this podcast, and I was like, you got your shop. Why don't you become a sponsor? And we started having a conversation just about some different things. And what I really want to be able to talk, after I kind of throw this out there, just kind of kick it to you, and I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, just whatever you're feeling, whatever you're flowing. But also, you and I had a conversation about cryptocurrency, bro.
Yes, the new wave.
The new wave.
Oh
and,
my God,
and like,
it's scary though.
And you've been doing stuff, and so like I think that'd be a cool conversation because I myself have also kind of gotten into the crypto world too. But yeah, man, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us a little bit about your business. Let us know, man.
So basically, you guys, I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota. Born and raised pretty much on the west side, but I kind of lived on the east side, family in the Frogtown area. I'm just a St. Paul native, and I was born on the west side where it was kind of predominantly Hispanic. Okay. And, you know, they kind of then deal with people of color other than their race. And as we got, so it was kind of like battles. But growing up as a kid, you had friends that played both sides of the field. But ultimately, as we grew up, they respected you and they knew your family was from over there. Word. And this and that. And so, you know, as I got older, I actually lived on the east side, and I would go past this shop, which was a vacuum cleaner repair shop, all the time on Payne Avenue and Jinx. And actually, this is the place that I'm actually at now in today's time. So it's kind of cool to see that I used to run around on the same area and on the same turf, and then grow up to be an adult and actually invest back into the same area.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, a lot of people, they get some type of money, or they come up on a loan, or, you know, and they move off. They don't like take care of the blocks they were on. Yeah. And I don't think you ultimately achieve your goals in life until you can take care of where you came from. Then you expand the horizons, because it has to start within. Yeah. We got to invest in what's going on here in our home.
How old are you, Red?
I am 40 years old. I'll be 41 in June.
Before June what?
15.
Okay, I'm the 21st.
And I'm the 11th.
Nice. Are you June too?
Yeah, we're
really?
in here.
Yeah, man. You didn't know that? Yeah.
I guess I didn't.
Yeah, June 11th.
Okay,
bro.
10 days before mine. Okay, all right.
That's why I've always liked you, AK.
Got the Gemini.
Okay.
Gemini's in the, and there's like 6 of us in this room right now.
That's right.
That is true. Yes, that is so true.
I always tell people too, because they be like, you know, they have that stigma of us. They say that it's like two people, one's the devil, one's this.
Yeah, right.
I be like, I have a business side and I have a hustler side, and there's different words. It's a different terminology when I say hustler. Hustler means somebody that is born to just get it. They're gonna get it. Money should never be an issue. It's just something that comes naturally. You know what I mean?
So so actually, you bring me to my question. Entrepreneurship for Black folks is something that should be utterly important to leaders, community leaders, elected leaders, because for Black folks, generational wealth is usually passed down through a home.
Yes.
You know, we don't have.
And life insurance, yeah.
Well, I mean, insurance, with no doubt, but, you know, especially a home, because sometimes you don't have then life insurance, but you got a house.
Yes.
And, you know, we don't have old money that comes through our family, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, is it I don't mean to sound dumb, but I mean, looking at your success, is it important, or how important is it for Black males or Black folks to achieve, especially in their own communities? Like you just said, I mean, you're in an area, in a space where you used to run around and chunk rocks at. Now you understand the value of it, and that's why you're giving back. Entrepreneurship, is that important for growth in our community?
It's very important right now because it's something we lack. It's like you see a lot of other people doing it with their kids and this and that, but it's something that's got to be done more within our homes. You know, they got to believe in it. And like, I come from a family that didn't have it. You know, we didn't have that silver spoon or anything. It was like, you didn't work, you didn't eat. So when I was 13 years old, I found my way into the working field. I went and pulled weeds. There was a store on the west side called Joseph's Food Market, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph's. They're Lebanese, and I actually admired them. They kind of gave me a lot of my manhood. They told me, you got to be this way, because they would give me like $3 to $5 just to pull weeds out the side of their cracks of their ground of the cement in front of their store. And it was like really nothing for me to do, but the fact they were training my mind to do that.
Giving you work ethic.
Yes, giving you instilling work ethic, and that's what we were talking about in the other show. I think we missed that, right? I think sometimes society likes to liken it to not being a male figure in the home, when there's statistical evidence to show even if that male is in the home, he's still in their kid's life, right? So again, is that also important? Is having, you don't necessarily have to have your dad, but having someone in your life that's instilling good moral ethics in kids. Like, again, like I was saying today, my dad always said that there was dignity in work, right? And worked, actually wants to go back to work now. I'm like, dude, you're 75. You're like, I'm bored. So, are we lacking that?
We're very much lacking that. I remember, like I feel like the age that I'm at right now and in the category I'm in, we are a dying breed. My great grandma, she worked all the way until she died. And it's like, and then she stayed with my great grandfather, for the land before time. It seems like people don't believe in the marriage really that much. It's a high rate on divorce right now.
Tell me about it.
We got we got to just live a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Be comfortable. Know that things are gonna get better.
Are you a father?
Yes, I have 4 daughters, and I go through the battle because they're separate moms. But my youngest is 9 years old. I'm actively in their lives, and I'm trying to be a better man every day, because there's always challenges in front of us.
Absolutely, yeah.
I never feel like I'm like at that level where I know everything. I'm still learning.
Yeah, but I mean, you're there, right? And
Yes.
like that's the thing that I've had this conversation with so many cats before. I had this one buddy, and this is before he even had kids. He was like, if I can't be in my kid's life full time, I don't want to be in there at all. I'm like, that's bogus, bro. Like, I get it 100%. The drama that you get with baby mamas, I don't know what that's like, because I ain't got no baby mamas.
You're lucky you.
But but I can understand that mentality. But you got to push through it. And those are your kids, man, and they lose something when you aren't there. And so, like, for you, being a father, and no one's perfect, but I remember when I first met you, we were talking about your daughter, your oldest daughter, right?
Right.
And like, she's out there, she's living life, and still being that important present part that you're there. And then you got your youngest, and you got your 2 daughters in between. So, at the end of the day, you got to try and be the thing that you want to see, right? Like, if you want to be that positive aspect. And so for you, I'm kind of curious, what made you decide that you wanted to go into business specifically to deal with clothing, man? Because you're out there. I remember back when you first started, you were out there sourcing clothes, and you traveling to here, you traveling to there, and you actually kind of create like a community hub. Like, when I've stopped in just to like do some insurance stuff with you, people be coming in and out of that store, and you building relationships with people in the community.
Yeah.
So just kind of tell me about your journey to like opening up your shop, man. And
So
everything like
basically, it all kind of started with me with telemarketing. I started being in these telemarketing gigs because, I had a criminal background, so it was kind of hard for me to get a job.
Yeah.
Right now, it's the easiest thing for a person to do is get a job. People don't really want to work right now, which is a terrible thing. But at the same time, I was doing telemarketing jobs, and I was kind of making all this money for these companies because I'm real good with my mouth. So they obviously knew that and used that against me. So, and I would always be 2 steps ahead of it in my mind, knowing that I was being used. And, they give you enough money just to come back the next week. You know what I'm saying? You'll pay a few bills, then got to come back and pay another few bills, and you're only making commission. So I did that for about 5-6 years. And then I kept telling myself, it's time for me to save my money. It's time for me to actually turn around and be my own boss, because I've always thought about what is a boss. You hear people talk about it and stuff, but you know, you don't really see anybody when you come from the hood and you don't see anybody actually changing and becoming that boss.
Yeah.
So you're actually wondering in your mind, what is it?
Yeah.
So I actually invested, and then, you know, I had a business partner as well. We came together with our ideas. I was kind of selling segues on Facebook. I had like a business page, and I just started selling them for a couple years, and then boom, all of a sudden me and my business partner came together. He had his idea, I had my idea. We found a brick and mortar, and then we went from there.
How long you been in business?
I've been in business this February. We've had the business for 4 years.
Hey man, and the average, I don't know about if you know this, but the average startup for black or brown business is the expectancy is 0 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So if you've lived 4, that's incredible, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not trying to put your business out there or anything like that, but when you had your grand opening, it kind of started off a little bit rocky with the craziness that happened around it, right?
Yes, it was terrible. Like, that's why I will never do an event thing at my shop. We had an incident where some people came that weren't even involved with the store. They seen it kind of look like a party, but really it was a grand opening. And, you know, people drove around, seen their enemy. Next thing you know, they started shooting.
Yeah.
And thank God nobody got injured or any of that.
Yeah.
You know, I had windows. You remember
Yeah,
my
bro.
windows were messed up
like,
for a
check
whole
this out,
month.
right? Like we just signed up the business. I knew he was gonna have this grand opening, and he's like, you know, he calls me. He's like, bro, like my business just got shot up. I'm like, yeah, right, man. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you went through that adversity, you know.
It was scary, man.
Yeah,
I wanted to, for the first
Like,
4
yeah.
months, I almost thought, I mean, not 4 months, but 4 weeks, I thought about closing, because it was like we had boards up on the windows. The insurance company didn't believe it really happened until I actually sent them pictures of the bullet holes.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were like, oh, whoa. But we had already paid for it, but got reimbursed it. It was great how it worked out and stuff. But it was just a scary moment, because I was battling if I made the right decision, you know, because I'm more of a man for my community. I'm trying to do something to show kids you can become something from nothing. You don't got to always think about the fast route. Sometimes you have to take it at the speed that God puts in front of you. You can't just make this path and be like, oh, because everybody's glorified by a lot of stuff like street life, social media, rap videos, you know, what they see. And it's just like, no, that's not how life is really supposed to be designed. That stuff's just interfering with the reality of the picture.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, and I think the fact that you persevered through that, and you're still persevering. But, you know, when it came to kind of getting into clothing, like, you know, for you, you do got fresh gear. Like, I'm not saying that I
Why
can't
you didn't
dress
bring
that
me
way.
something to try on when I could have, you know?
I apologize.
You're a sponsor. No, you know
we
what?
gonna
Actually,
save
it's
that
my
for
bad.
season
I will
2.
be in
Season 2,
tomorrow.
yeah.
I'm gonna come in
Episode
tomorrow.
2.
I'm gonna come in tomorrow. I'm gonna go into.
Nah, you should roll through.
Yeah, I'm
You
gonna
should
go
roll
in
through.
tomorrow.
He's got
You
bunch-
got a
bunch of
jumpsuit
stuff.
for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll be in there
I'll
tomorrow.
get you all the way together.
I'll be in there tomorrow. I'm gonna get a jumpsuit.
But yeah, like what made you decide to go into like clothing, fashion type of stuff?
I've always been surrounded
I'm
by
looking at you. Look like you
fashion.
from New York or something,
Ah,
boy.
thank you.
That's-
And I
this
actually
man
got,
always dressing
I
fresh
got
to
my
death.
own- I wore my own stuff. It got MN Red on
Yeah,
there.
look at
And
that,
then
dog.
It's kind of cool because I had somebody when I first started my business, I had somebody take a picture of me, and then I'm like, I want to be created as a cartoon character. So this guy kind of came up with the Where's Waldo theme.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, dog.
This jacket is one of the originals. It's 4 years old.
Oh yeah, yeah.
At first, I thought he was making fun of me. You know what
Okay,
I'm saying?
okay.
And then I
But
threw
it's
it on
'cause you
some,
everywhere, dog.
Yeah, then I threw it on some T-shirts, some jackets, some hoodies, and hats, and they just start flying off. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, we go.
So I wear one of those.
That's dope. Yeah,
And
I
then
like
people
it,
be
man.
like, that's the Waldo. So I had started a little cool thing. Like, I be trying to come up with ideas on my own.
Yeah, you
I
gotta be innovative.
You really have to, and you have to stay ahead of the curve, man. Don't never let nobody block your visions. If you have a dream, you better go ahead and live that dream in reality right now, because time's short. You might not be here tomorrow.
That's right.
So I just try to go hard every single day.
Do you vote?
Yes, I actually do.
You do vote.
Yes.
And so it's being a business owner. Is that important who you vote for, which party you vote for, and I'm not asking. I'll ask in a minute. But is that important, being a business owner? Because I think some of us don't think that vote is important.
It's important, but there has been a specific situation that just happened to me where two candidates that were running in St. Paul are like family friends, like they're family pretty much. Yeah. And they both are like running in the same category, so they both came to my shop at separate times, and the first one came and he kind of left his information there, and then the second one came and looked and said, oh, so he can leave his information and I can't have mine there. I said, oh. So then one of my good friends told me, you have to say that you're kind of
you're nonpartisan.
So I kind of learned it. That's in a business aspect, when you're talking to people or they're over here forcing this on you and this and that, I think you're supposed to play in the middle, nonpartisan.
He's smart.
Hey, you have to, because I don't want shots being fired from
either
either
you
side.
ain't lying. You ain't lying. Political shots or real shots.
Yes.
You ain't lying.
Yes.
No, I honestly, when you think about that, for real, that the average life expectancy of a business for a black person is 0 to 3 years. That's sad, right? Yeah. And so, what's it take? Because it's hard. And I don't know if you went and got a loan for y'all's business or your partner had the credit or whatever it was, but it's hard for black and brown folks to, even with credit sometimes, to go get a loan, depending on it. Because again, we want it in our neighborhood because that's our way of giving back. Yep. And so that counts with the bank looks like, well, it's right there in the middle of the hood, so I don't think so. So, what's it take to have that sustainability to be in business 4 years now? Mm-hmm. Well, you've lived now a year past what they say, right? Mm-hmm. So what's it take?
First of all, it takes you have to be able to network. Second of all, it takes you saving your money. Third of all, it takes you to just have positive people around you, people that want to see you succeed. Because if you have those type of people around you, you'll never fail, man. Like literally, I had to save my money, and then I kind of made a following online on social media, so people know that I have clothes, and I kind of live my life by showing people what I go through on social media, so they know it's real. When they want to, and that's what makes people want to come support what I'm doing, is because I'm doing it from the heart. You know, there ain't no fake in it. I'm not, of course we're trying to all make money, but sometimes all money ain't good money. Right. And I do take care of kids in my community. We do shoe drives. I want to do it again, but this pandemic kind of took a toll on us. As the last 4 months, I took over my store 100% now. Yeah. And
so you're just sole proprietor. You don't have a partner anymore.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna hook you up with. I'm sure you know Mickey Frost.
Yeah, Mickey Frost.
Okay, and then now,
funny. I love Mickey. He was in the story I was selling.
Was he? So then do you know Rep Thompson? Do you know Representative John Thompson?
A little bit.
I'm gonna introduce you to him, because what you're saying, those two dudes, you three, I think can do a lot for the east side and the west side of St. Paul, just St. Paul, period.
And he got Truce, right? Like literally,
yes.
Truce is.
You got two of them now.
Yup, he's got the one over there in the Frogtown area,
right? And
then he's got the one that's like probably 4 doors down from me.
So wait a minute, because the first one is off of Snelling, right?
Yeah, I'm on Payne and Jinx, and he's like kind of close to Payne and Case.
Okay, so I'm Minnesota. I mean,
it's so beautiful in there too.
Minneapolitan?
Yeah,
Minneapolis.
I don't know.
You don't know St. Paul as much?
I can't stand St. Paul.
It's like I said, my wife's to the east sider, man.
I can't stand. First of all, nothing is in alphabetical order. That is so weird to me.
Now I want to ask you that. So everybody
that's that Minneapolis stuff.
Everybody always said, because I have no dog in this fight. People from St. Paul think that Minneapolis is ridiculous. People from Minneapolis think that St. Paul ridiculous.
Minneapolis, we rule. We rule. It's classy. It used to be nonviolent.
St. Paul's the capital, baby.
It used to be nonviolent, but we can't say that anymore. But for real, St. Paul is just so big where nothing in alphabetical order, and St. Paul is big. I mean, I know Minneapolis is big, but maybe because I've lived there since I've lived here, I don't really. Well, you got South and North. Northeast. St. Paul, I was like, wait a minute, was I just over here? No, I'm in Frogtown. I'm in, I was like,
It is spread out though. St. Paul is
it's
like
pretty big,
really
man.
wide.
St.
It's
Paul is
like
pretty
wide,
big.
not as tall, but yeah, it stretches.
And then you have to
stretches
speak a
out
different language depending on the area you go in, right? Shit. You gotta know Asian.
there. Asian?
Yeah.
How about Hmong, dog?
You
Come
gotta know
on.
Hmong.
All right.
You gotta know Lebanese.
Korean.
You gotta know Korean. You gotta know Ebonics. You know what I'm saying? Shit, because you will get shot. You will get shot. So I first of all, I can't thank you enough for being a sponsor for us, right? And so
Yes.
a black show having a black sponsor, it really does us proud. Now, Kevin at the Webermart is a minority as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But having a black sponsor, black business owner, is it when he first told me, it was like, hell, please get the brother on. Hopefully he wants to be our sponsor because, again, that's what we do here. We highlight, when candidates are running, black candidates are running, come on, have a seat. You got to interview. I'm going to interview the black folks, and then everybody else comes second.
Amen.
It's just who I am. And so I love to hear you say how you want to uplift. That's beautiful. And you don't have to, but you do, because we're obligated as black men. And I love that you've taken your self-worth, and think about it. You just said that you got some of your training, some of your knowledge from folks. What were the Josephs? What nationality were they? They were Asian as well, right?
Lebanese.
Lebanese.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like Danny Tom.
It's cool
You don't
because
know
they
who Danny
taught me
Thompson.
some traits that I wasn't being taught at home,
Yeah.
So it
See?
kind of molded me to be a man and learn you got to work for things.
Did you come from a single family?
Yes. My mom had 4 kids, including myself, raised us all by herself, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
we still overcame that battle. It made me want to be more of a father, not
That's
having
right.
minds around.
That's I just want to ask you. Do you
100%.
do things differently as a father? You got
By
4 girls. I got 3
far.
girls and a boy. Do you do? God, I can't speak tonight. Do you do things differently because of you not having? So I don't know if you had your father. So let me ask this specifically. Did you have your father in your life?
No.
Okay. So is that why, or did you do things differently as a father because you didn't have yours?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my main goal. Because, it's like something that, like, even though I know he wasn't there, it sticks in my mind and it makes me remember you can't be like that.
Yeah,
You know what
word.
I'm saying? You got to do 10 times better. You know what I'm saying? So that's every day what I'm trying to do for my kids. And that's why I want to leave a legacy, because I know it wasn't left for me, but I'm going to change that. And then it makes me want to work twice as harder to achieve my goals, because I ain't come from nothing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Word, 100%.
If you got a silver spoon, how you gonna actually respect that and make that achieve? You're gonna always think about that silver spoon, and you're gonna resort back to it, rather than if you was from the bottom and you just had to get it out the mud. You're gonna respect your blessings a lot more when they come.
Word. Yeah. I think honestly, having that ethic, that work ethic of understanding that grind and that hustle, I've had conversations with Jamar all the time. There's no amount of money that I think that you could throw into these black communities, Hispanic communities, Asian communities that are suffering from economic disparity, from increased violence. I think that programs can be directed based off of the need of that community. But I think more than anything, people like you, right? People that try and have an actual impact, I think that actually has more of an impact because it's real. It's connected to someone, right? And so when we talk about these disparities that exist, there are barriers, right? Like the problem is if you want to open up a business, in an area that has higher crime than other areas, a bank might say, pass, hard pass. And so there is things that the government can do, in my opinion, where they can help secure some guarantees for funding and for loans to say,
Uncle Joe and President Obama is doing that.
yeah, and Trump was also helping do that with
right.
Tim Scott. And,
But I
and-
did
and
notice-
Booker.
Yeah, right.
I noticed that, during this pandemic, I've seen the most minority businesses opening during this time.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, man, it's been crazy. A lot of my friends has been opening up businesses
Great.
left and right.
Black
you know?
folks?
Yeah.
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 No, that's great. Listen, we need that.
Yeah.
if you're a business owner and a homeowner, I mean, you're less likely to rob.
Yeah.
You're less likely to break into someone's home
Right.
because you understand, well, I'm a homeowner. Even if I'm renting, well, you know, I still have that dignity that's mine.
Yeah.
And so I try to explain to folks, like, with these homeless encampments, and they're like, it's like, look, we better be proactive and stop being reactive as to, we live in Minnesota. Now, we live in California. I guess they could stay there year round, right?
Right.
But we live in a place where it gets cold.
Right.
So them folks are going to survive. And don't get me wrong. If
They'll
listen,
find a way.
and if I see that house right here that's abandoned, I'm probably going to bust them windows in. And yeah, I know it's still cold, but you know how folks are. I might can Negro rig and, you know. But I don't get why folks don't adhere to, like, see, I don't want a government that gives you everything. That's why I didn't vote for Bernie Sanders, because I don't believe in getting everything given to you,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And and some Bernie Sanders fans probably cussing me out now, saying that's not what he wanted. That is, but anyway, you got to work for some things, right? You know,
Word.
and because again, if we're given everything, like I was spoiled, but as I was telling y'all though, my parents were still strict, or I won't say strict, but disciplinarians,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
They taught me the value of $1 still, right? You know, I had to wait and do chores. And so when I go get those jabos, you know, I had to wait every
Jabot.
2 weeks. Yeah, I know, right? I said I was, you know, I was kind of spoiled.
I mean, y'all are close to the same age.
yeah, I'm 43. I just turned 43.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. You got me by a
So
couple
like
years.
to what you're saying, I think my aspect is you have to have people step up in the community, and that actually makes the biggest impact more than anything. And I look at what can we do to help support that, right? Like when I say we, I mean, like, I think the role of government is help to foster environments. I don't like the top-down type of stuff, because I think too many things get left, and then organizations get funded that have no business being funded because they're already doing stupid things already. But doing that aspect, and you know, to kind of like move things a little bit into aspects of building wealth, because like you said, save money. You know, saving money is one aspect, but finding different ways to do it. Now, I just want to be very clear. We are not giving any financial advice. We're not going to tell you to buy, sell, or hold any stocks or crypto. But for you, how did you get involved in the crypto game? Because I know that you found some successes there, bro.
I don't know why. Some reason too. When I get to talking about stocks, it just lights up my day now. It's like the
that's
funnest
real,
thing to do, because I just got addicted to it. It started for me in April of 2020. You know, basically, I just like had started hearing about it. I had friends really on. I would hear about the stock market, and honestly, to me, I always was told by my OGs, it was a white man sport. You know what I'm saying? It was something you couldn't afford to be in. The next thing you know, the pandemic happened, and you seen them prices coming down.
Oh
like,
my God.
Everything got chopped.
I
like
regret
lumber.
not investing in gas. Seriously.
Yeah, everything
No.
got chopped like lumber.
Yes.
So then, you know, I had a couple buddies. Like, I got a buddy from the West Side that I grew up with, and he's into stocks real heavy. He actually closed his business down. He got a big, nice house, and all he does is invest all
No.
day. You
Black
know what I'm
dude?
saying? No, no, he's not. But he's minority.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's just like, all he does is invest. And he would talk to me, and he'd be like, you need to get into this, bro. This is the wave. Trust me, you won't have to work ever again. You just stay on it. And so all of a sudden, he would send me stocks. And then I would just go on Robinhood and just start following these stocks for like 3 months. And I would just start looking at the graph. Granted, even still to this day, I don't 100% understand the graph, but I understand these terminologies they're throwing out that I've studied, and I'm starting to understand it more every day that I keep watching it. And then another cool thing too is I got friends. I got tons of friends, so they all got these groups that they be in on Facebook. And, you know, there's YouTubers, and I just start following a lot of them and seeing the trends on what people are talking about and stuff. And then next thing you know, once I started seeing these stocks like Amazon drop 5, 10, 15, 20%, my buddy's like, that's when you jump in. You're buying the dip, buying the dip. I'm like, what's the dip? And the next thing you know, I find out I'm riding that dip, and now I'm on that wave. I jumped in, and at first, you know, when the pandemic first happened, yeah, I lost $10,000. I was like,
You're like, this is bogus.
oh, this is bogus, man. Jump right in and lost $10,000. Then all of a sudden, you know, I stayed back in it, got the $10,000 back. Boom, here comes the elections. Boom, lost to like $30,000-$40,000.
Yo.
Oh man, now I'm sweating
Oh, you
bricks.
rich.
Now I'm sweating bricks, but this is all money. This is all the profits I had
from it,
made.
yeah.
You know, so it really wasn't my money because in reality, when you're investing in stocks, nothing's a profit until you pull away.
Yeah.
Or nothing's a loss until you pull away.
That's true too.
You know what I'm saying? You
If you
could be
hold it.
down 98% of a option call, or you know, a put, or even, you know, you could just be down on your stock. You could buy it at $99. It's down to $2. But it's not a loss until you hit that sell button.
That's
and
right.
that's something a lot of people got to take into perspective.
Well, why is it a loss? If I'm collecting my monies, and how am I losing?
Yeah, because, you know, for say you buy a stock and it's $98 for that stock per share. And then you buy in at that $98. Then all of a sudden that stock drops down and that stock's only worth $2. Now you just lost $96.
Correct.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the stock dropped down, but you didn't lose it until you hit that sell button. Because you could keep it and hold on to it for eternity, and it might go back up. And then
That's what you're saying now.
Yeah, then it becomes worth twice.
But then
as
if it
much.
goes back up,
Yeah.
you saying I'm still considered losing if it goes back up. Now it's $100.
No,
and
now
I
you're
pull out
gaining.
money. Right, so that's when I pull out.
Yeah, that's what.
Well,
I mean, you say no because you wanted to see how far it goes up.
Yeah.
But me, that's why I don't go to Mystic and shit. Because when I hit that $100, I'm pulling out. I don't go to
So
Mystic.
let me throw this out there. So the difference, in my opinion, and this is, and I used to have my financial securities license, right? So when it comes to mutual funds, I can actually have conversations with people. I can't tell them what to invest in, but I can have conversations with them. And one of the first things that really I became aware of, and me and you had a conversation about this when I was at your shop, I was always taught that you don't start investing until you got money. Then you start to invest. And that is the wrongest possible advice that anybody could ever give you. That's actually what poor people tell each other.
I agree.
Of why they don't invest.
And that's blocking your blessings.
100%. Doing a little bit over a long time because of compound interest, simple interest, is going to crazily increase. And so, like, you know, that was the biggest thing for me. But when I kind of started looking around and I no longer had my financial securities license, I still have all this knowledge base, right? And crypto had always been this kind of like foreign, weird thing to me. You know, it just sounded like it was just fake. Like, it can't really be like this.
Are you talking back when it was like $10 for
I'm-
Bitcoin?
Well, yeah, that'd be crazy, dog.
Now
That'd be
it's like
crazy.
$66,000
Yeah,
for Bitcoin,
yeah.
and it's not about to stop. Cryptocurrency is about to be the new wave.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's
No.
so many of these coins that's popping out, and it's kind of weird because, you know, if you really think about it, Bitcoin and Ethereum, those are the top two that are backed by banks. So it's like all the
Becoming
other ones are
institutional,
kind of like they're in the trial stages. You
Yeah.
know
But then
what
why
I'm
does that also? I mean, I hear that they're backed by banks, but then they're not backed by the government. So I mean, I guess
When we say backed by banks, so think about it this way, right? Like stocks, when Red is talking about stocks,
which is backed by the government.
right? Stocks are backed by securities, right? A stock is a security. And so when I'm a company and I want someone to invest in my company, I go and I tell the government I'm going to give away shares of my business. And when I give that share to you and you hold on to it, depending on the type of share, it's going to give dividends. And so that's one way that I can make money is I can hold on to that asset for a long time, and then it's going to give dividends, and that's my money. So if I have 1,000 of a stock and it's giving me a dividend, and let's say the dividend is $5 per stock, right? I'm taking that dividend. But then you can do these more elaborate options of doing a call or a put. But the point is that that traditional stock, that is, you know, regulated by the SEC, and there's certain regulations that go into it. When crypto came into the place, crypto said, we are going to create a completely, independent space. You know, we want to have decentralized finance.
Scares me.
And it can be scary, but there's so much power in it because it actually gives power to the people.
Right.
And what I mean to the people is that the individuals that are deciding that this thing has a value, you know, like this bottle cap, right? I'm like, I've made this bottle cap and I made 100 of them, and I want to give you these bottle caps, and you're going to give me something of value for these bottle caps. So you give me $10, and now you have these bottle caps. Now this is a choice that you and I have made of what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get more and more people to start going into this. And now it's to the point where the crypto market right now is like $2.9 trillion is the total market. But people are seeing so many crazy things happen. But the truth is that there's going to be these ups and downs, right? And there's scam stuff. Like I went in on some altcoins, some meme coins, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be dope. Like the one that's most famous that just happened in the last couple of weeks. There was a coin, a token called Squid Game, off of the Netflix show.
Oh, okay.
And this thing went up over the course of like 4 days, 140,000%.
Wow.
Okay? The total market cap, right? It touched, I think it was $50 billion, the market cap on this thing. So people were trying to catch up because there was people that had put in literally $100 and their account was showing that they had $2 million off of $100. So they're trying to cash out, and they couldn't. And then all of a sudden the next day, it literally got rug pulled. So the people that had the money, they pulled it out and they made off with like $40 million. So that part is scary. But here's the key, and here's the thing that I think is cool about
That is scary because there's been people that's got away like that.
Yeah, there's rug pulls that happen.
And that's what worries me. They're getting away.
They're getting away.
If you can do it, you can do it. But
But here's the key though. Here's the thing about crypto is that crypto is the way of the future because it can be used so easily and so interchangeably, and you're going to start seeing that if you aren't in crypto, that you're going to be missing out. And so right now, Ethereum and Bitcoin, and specifically Bitcoin, now has these ETFs, right? And so these ETFs are an account that an institutional like a bank can say, we're going to create a platform of investing that tracks Bitcoin, right? So you don't actually hold Bitcoin, but it tracks Bitcoin, and that's been approved now. So people are starting to kind of say there's an easy way for people to kind of get involved in this, and you've got the mayor of New York who's going to take his first 3 paychecks is Bitcoin. You've got NFL players, the mayor of New York, the new mayor that just got elected.
The brother?
He's taking his first 3 paychecks in crypto. The mayor of Miami gets paid in crypto. Aaron Rodgers just announced that he's getting paid in crypto. Tom Brady gets paid in crypto.
Wow.
And so
it's taking over.
It's what's going to happen. So
That's silly as hell.
But here's the thing for me, right? Crypto encourages people to do your own research, DYOR. And by kind of finding out these terms, it actually helps you understand investments better, and you can get involved in these different communities. I think that the things that are a little bit more risky are the meme coins because they could be crazy. But when we talk about Ethereum, we talk about Bitcoin, we talk about Solana. When we talk about some of these bigger names, Cardano, I got some Cardano. It was popping today. It's whatever it is.
Everything's red today.
I know, man. It's crazy.
It was brutal today and yesterday.
At 1 o'clock, I was like, what came out? Because everything's just down. I got this one meme coin, though. It's up like 2,300% since I started holding. And my only regret is that I didn't put more into it because 2,300% is what it's sitting at. And it's a good one. But my point is, right, and especially for you, do you encourage people to at least start to do some research and find out how this works and at least in some capacity, whether it's stocks, like through Robinhood, like you said, or whatever it is, but like start to understand how your money can really do something for you. Not everybody's going to have like this dream where you put in 100 and it turns into $10,000. But if you start putting your money into investments, don't just put it in a bank account. That's stupid. Find a way to start getting it out
mine's
there.
Hidden at home
and
anyway.
that's what you got to do.
Yeah, investing is a new wave. It's always been a wave. We just weren't awoke to see it. Now I think it's like something that it just needs to be taught. Everybody needs to know this. Even if you want to learn, easiest way to learn is follow your friends that are doing well in this. Just see what they're talking about. Look into these Facebook groups. Actually, just research the stuff. You can actually find anything you want to know about these companies that you're trying to invest in by Googling it. it's as easy as that, because that's what I do. I spend a lot of time reading articles. Sometimes I don't have enough time in the day to do it the way I want to do it, because if I could, I'd probably be filthy rich. But, you know, right now I'm dibbling, dabbling. You know, I don't got enough time to study everything, but I could do it if I had enough time.
Yeah.
One day, maybe when life is designed the way I want it to be, I can do it like that. But for now, I just got to, you know, pay heed to it. But if you guys are looking to invest or anything, just start with downloading applications, either Robinhood, there's Ameritrade. I really don't like Robinhood. They're going through their little, you know.
They're going through their issues, yeah.
Yeah, going through their issues.
But there's a lot, yeah.
Their
you got
stocks getting
Webull,
halted, though.
There's crypto, right? There's Coinbase.
There's crypto.com.
There's Kraken. So, like, you have crypto wallets and apps that you can download to kind of find out more, and then you have more of the traditional, like you said, you got the Robinhood, and there's
Webull is the best because they actually let you start trading at 3 a.m. in the morning, and then you don't have to. I think it stops 6 or 7, one of those two, but that's probably the best one to actually do your trading on.
Yeah, and like the greatest part, in my opinion, is that as long as you at least start to look at research and realize it's not that complicated. Like, it can feel like a lot of information, but the age that we live in, man, all you really have to do is find people that are popular, and then just try and just listen to some of them. Like, there's so many YouTube. There's this one guy, his show's called Up with Larry, and it's on YouTube.
Him.
Up with Larry. He's a black dude. He's from, I don't know where he's from.
He keeps it real.
He keeps it real, and he's got like 500,000 subscribers. And he like breaks it down, and he talks, and then he's got like another guy, his name's Marcus, and he's like 21, 22, and they put all their stuff out there, like, here's how much I put in, here's how much this is done, and they say, like, I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold anything, I'm just saying here's what I'm doing, but also do research and find out. And what you start to learn is that by doing just a little bit and putting that emphasis in it, it can make crazy differences in your life. And more importantly, it starts to teach you the idea that when you are out there and you're making money, the way to grow your money truly is have a discipline of, here's what I'm going to do, right? If every paycheck you're going to set aside, even if this might sound stupid, $50. And you're like, but I'm going to take this $50 and I'm going to put this towards my future. And this money is my future money, right? And you're going to start to find out as you start to do research that you can start to have kind of different segments. This money might be for when I'm 65. This money might be for 5 years from now. This money might be this. And at the end of the day, anybody that will tell you this, if they don't explain it to you, you never put in more than you can afford to lose. And what I mean by that is that no investments are ever guaranteed. So if you get your whole paycheck and you got rent to pay, you got bills to pay, and you put it all into, I don't care what investment it is, that's stupid and terrible. Only put what you can afford. But I can promise you that the majority of people that listen to this show have at least some amount that they could say, all right, maybe I can do one less Caribou coffee every 4 days. I'll rotate one of those off. You know what I'm saying? And take my $10 per week, and I'm going to do this. Because at the end of the process, all of that is going to lead to being able to generate income for yourself in the future. But I just think that there's so many easy ways to kind of get in. And for you, like you said, you only been in for now, what, a year and a half, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you're still learning, but you're making moves. I'm super, super new into it. And I've already made moves. Like, I tell my wife sometimes, I'll be like, look at this. I'm like, yo, what if I would have done this?
Right.
But that's the thing, is that, again, you only do what you can afford to lose, because that's how investments work.
It's a
There are
gamble.
some investments that go out because, like, let's say I buy a building and I'm going to rent it out, right? And I'm going to have tenants. If you think that guaranteed when you buy a building, that's guaranteed income, no, it's not, because you could have tenants that don't pay you rent, and then you evict them, and now you got to pay this mortgage note on this building, but you don't have no tenants. That's still risky, so you could be out of pocket. But it is about being disciplined and making moves. And
that's why I don't do the shit, okay?
And
You
study.
shouldn't. There's nothing wrong with doing stocks, but I'm suggesting you invest in normal stocks. Yeah,
stocks.
Yeah, the regular shit. Not all that.
And I say look into crypto and do your research and find out that there's some really cool things going on out there.
Definitely do your research. Before we get out of here, I'm meant to talk about it too with the shoe chicks, but I know you guys seen today some of that trial of the Kyle Rittenhouse. What's his name?
Rittenhouse.
Somebody.
I read something he was crying.
Did you? Oh Lord, you should have seen that blubbering idiot.
I just read something he was
You didn't
crying.
see it actually?
I didn't see it actually. I just read he was crying.
It was like on cue, like the mom was in the back of the courtroom, like
Drop
Whatever.
the rag.
and
Drop
then
the rope.
exactly, and he just.
I don't mean to laugh.
It
man.
seemed genuine to me.
It was not. You can't. You gotta drop a tear if it's genuine. I mean, you can't cry without tears. Those are crocodile tears. You gotta. He didn't drop one tear.
Yes, he did. Watch the video.
I watched it live.
Yeah, okay, watch it back. Maybe you watched the feed that cut away.
I seen the judge give the man water. And that's probably the only tears that you seen
I don't know.
was the waters that the judge gave him.
I don't know if you've ever had to shoot anybody. It seems
This
like a traumatic experience.
judge, the prosecutor's not very good anyway, but this judge is helping set up this dude acquittal.
Set up.
All right, he's helping set up this dude's acquittal. This guy, I mean, I don't get how even regular gun owners can accept the fact that this dude should not have had the weapon there, wasn't old enough to have the weapon there, but that's okay with you guys. And from the surviving guy, they were unarmed. The one guy, the guy he shot, was unarmed.
No, the guy he shot literally was holding
the guy that lived.
The first one?
The guy that lived.
The guy that lived was holding a gun to him, and he said that the defense asked, they said, "You put your hands up, and did Kyle lower his gun?" And he goes, "Yes."
And shot him like he
he
shot the other dude down here.
Here's what he said. And then he goes, "And then when did Kyle shoot you?" And he goes, "When I took 2 steps forward." And he's like, "I put my gun out." And he's like, "So he didn't shoot you until you had the gun pointed at him." It was like the worst, like, that was the best thing for the defense. Because he literally said he put his hands up and Kyle lowered the gun. Now, he said that what Kyle did is his gun jammed, so he pulled the slide back because he was, basically releasing the one round to put a new round in the chamber. But he said, well, then the question is, when you had your hands up, he didn't shoot you. When you put your gun back forward, that's when he shot you. And he goes, yes. But because in the guy's mind, he thought that the fact that Kyle pulled the slide back meant that he would have shot him when his hands were up, but his gun jammed. You can't prove that, though. But what you can prove is that.
Well, how does your gun jam? You got to try to release.
That's not the only reason. He might have done that.
I've been in a gang and I've never seen a gun get jammed unless you tried to fire it. Guns don't jam unless you try to fire them.
Absolutely not. Listen, there's a million.
Well, how do you know it's jammed then?
There's a million reasons why you might pull the slide back.
Yeah, to kill a motherfucker like he tried to.
Because when he put it down, right, he might have been like, I want to make sure in case this dude takes another step forward, and then he pointed up. But the point is that it's classic textbook self-defense.
It's not self-defense.
Absolutely.
It's not self-defense.
Yes. Listen, who was chasing whom?
First of all, I'm glad. So did you watch it all today?
Yes, I did. I've watched.
Okay,
yeah,
good. And I'm glad. Even the defense brought out this man was turned to. First of all, then you heard the part where the police turned him away, told him not to go down that direction that he went, where he shot those people. The police told him not to. What did he do? He went that way anyway. Oh, I'm protecting that business. I'm protecting that business. Police said, don't go that way because they're down there acting really crazy down there, so you probably shouldn't go that way. Keep going this way. Then he even tells that there were barricades set up by the police and by some of the protesters. What did Rittenhouse do? Oh, he got a gun. He gonna go over all the barricades. That's not the mind of someone that's trying to go around rendering first aid, as he kept saying. He was a Boy Scout and a EMT, and he was rendering first aid. That's not the mindset of someone that's going around. And
who chased who first?
And you go around with your hand on your gun while you're going around to see who needs first aid, but I'm going around like this. So,
well, today he testified that Rosenbaum had told him 2 times. One, he said, I'm going to rip your heart out. And then the other time he said, if I catch you alone, I'm going to fucking kill you. That's what he testified. And it was corroborated by another witness.
Which he said, no, you're wrong. He said that the first time the boy said it, the second time he was talking to someone else and he heard him say that.
Yes, I know. But I'm saying that's what I'm saying. When he heard it, then when he said that.
And then after admitting that when the boy said, you shot us, he said, oh, I did.
But he chased him. Okay, Rosenbaum chased Kyle, right? They have drone footage, they have eyewitness testimony, and it wasn't until the person fired a gun. That guy testified. I don't know what
wasn't Rosenbaum.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Rosenbaum.
No.
But when he turned around, Rosenbaum was reaching and his hand touched the rifle, and that's when he started to buck. And so the issue is that if someone is grabbing for my gun, okay, they had told me that they're going to cut my heart out, right? And you just heard a gunshot.
Because you're not going around saying anything. Just like there was the guy that testified, Rittenhouse was going around using foul language, talking about what he would do. I mean, stop making Rittenhouse out to be this angel that just defended himself.
I don't think he should have
went
been
down
there.
You're damn right he shouldn't have been there.
He shouldn't have been there.
He wasn't even. That gun was illegally possessed. He had no business with it.
That's actually up for debate because
what age do you have to be?
In Wisconsin, 16 and 17, there is an exception to the rule. Now, the judge hasn't thrown out that charge, but it's being charged on the constitutional grounds. So a handgun, you have to be 18, but a long gun, a rifle, or a shotgun, in Wisconsin, there's an exception, that, at least there's debate about it, 16 and 17-year-olds can have it. And he never brought a gun across state lines. The gun was in Wisconsin, right? So that was another aspect that he, decided he was going to go there. I just think it's clear that it's self-defense. And I think that these past days of testimony, based off of everything, if someone points a gun at you, okay, if someone pulled a gun out.
As a gun owner here in Minnesota, you can't even fire someone just because they.
So Minnesota, you have reasonable retreat, okay?
Yes, you can't just fire because this guy holds a gun at you.
Let's pretend that there's someone sitting there and they pulled a gun out and they pointed at me, okay? And my ability to reasonably retreat is that if I turn around and this person has their gun pulled out, they're going to shoot me as I run away. That is not okay. Now, if this guy threatens me and says, I'm going to kill you, right? And then I pull out my gun and I shoot him, I'm going to jail for murder. Because I could have said, if he's like, I'm going to kill you, I'm saying, I'm going to leave.
So how coincidental was the guy that threatened Rittenhouse end up dead later? How coincidental?
Not very, because
exactly, because you went preyed on him and you killed the damn boy. You tracked him down and killed him.
Why
did tracked him down and killed him?
So why did Rosenbaum chase him then?
Because this guy was walking around, this white privileged
idiot
was walking around.
So why would someone without a gun chase someone with a gun?
Because they were all going to.
And then try and grab his gun.
As the guy said, they were all trying to take the only guy down.
No, that was before. That was secondly. So the guy that got his bicep blown off, okay. Maybe you could make the argument that up until he pointed his gun at him, that he was trying to disarm him. Now, the one person that all loss of life is important to me, right? So I don't like that Rosenbaum died. I think that's messed up. Asking if Kyle should be going to jail for the rest of his life for murder, I don't think so. I think it's self-defense. Now, the dude with the skateboard, he hit him once, and they hit him a second time. And on the second time, he tried again, grab his gun. That's when he shot him one time, hit him in the heart. Now, that guy, he might, arguably, the guy with the skateboard, might have thought, because everybody's like, active shooter, thought that he was stopping a bad dude, right? That's possible.
They all did.
But it doesn't matter, because in my position...
They all did.
Well, I would say Grosskreutz, the last guy that got his bicep blown off, he's different, because he was carrying, and he had his gun out originally, going up to Kyle, asking, why are you here? And Kyle even said, the police told me to go over here. And he thought he heard him say, because I'm with the police. Even knowing that, he still had his gun at the ready. And again... when the dude got shot in the heart, he put his hands up, and then Kyle lowered the gun, and then the dude took a step forward. So again, I'm not happy that anybody got hit. I don't think Kyle should have been there. I think that he should have stayed at home. I can understand why he was out there.
Why?
Because he wanted to protect the area that he worked in, man, and he has friends that live there, and whatever. I don't think that he should have been out there. I think
his ass needs to go to jail.
I think you leave that stuff out. But
do you think you'd have got away with doing that?
Definitely wouldn't have.
Okay,
I don't think so.
Be under the jail already.
I said this to him last week. He said yes. I'm gonna ask you again. Do you think you would get away with what Rittenhouse did?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And I think, based off of the situation, we'll find out what happens.
He's going to get off.
I hope he does.
He's going to get off.
It sounds like he's going to get off.
I think
prosecution is bad.
Prosecution is so bad.
This judge reminds me of a good old boy. I swear to you, the way he yelled at the prosecutor.
Then why is he not throwing out the case then already?
What grounds? You can't just throw it out
today. So today, specifically, the judge said you can't mention this at all. This is not allowed, and he brought it up.
Trial silence.
Correct. And then
because the judge knows that he can't throw that out because he didn't.
But he told him 2 other times. Then he said, "What are you doing? You can't when someone says I didn't speak because I have a Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate myself, so I didn't give any conversation. And then you say, well, why didn't you say anything? And the judge said, hey, man, calm down. The prosecutor should have calmed down, but he didn't. The prosecutor's like, I don't know. It feels like he's trying to throw it on
Rittenhouse
purpose.
is a smug little bastard that is well rehearsed and that you could tell is.
That guy is a doughy boy.
No,
he had really good muzzle control. I'm impressed by how
he
handled
You can look at this. Watch, don't read it. Watch some of the coverage tomorrow and look at Rittenhouse. You could tell.
I'm about to watch it tonight.
Watch some of it. You could tell Rittenhouse is one of those white dudes that just make you just like want to smack him because he's all
turned
tough.
18, dog.
He's that white dude that's all tough when he's around his home, especially when he has a gun. He's really tough when he has a gun around his friends. Rittenhouse is that guy, and you could tell. He doesn't have remorse for shooting those people.
I think he does.
Watch those tears today. Don't read it. Watch those tears.
I think
he was in there trying to make himself cry.
Like, do you really think do you really think that if you took someone's life, unless you're a sociopath or psychopath, that you don't have remorse for killing someone?
He isn't showing an ounce of remorse.
I think that's wrong. I think you can feel that you're not wrong, but you can still feel remorse for ending someone's life.
There's some people that don't.
I know there are people that don't.
Don't
get me wrong.
Crazy individuals in this world that would do it and not look twice.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Exactly, and I think 100%. He's one of them.
So I want to just plug it another time here before we get done with the show. If you're in St. Paul, please head to 991 Payne Avenue. Now, you're open Wednesdays, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right?
Yep, 12 to 6 on Wednesday and Thursday, 12 to 7 on Friday or Saturday. If you guys can't make it in, look me up on Facebook, Just Imagine 651. I'm on Instagram as well, Just Imagine 651. Or you can find my website, justimagine651.com.
Absolutely. And go support our sponsor. The brother is, outlived the average survival of black ownership, and he's been in business 4 years, and that's because obviously of his uniqueness and the way that he gives back to the community, and that's what it's about. It's not blocking the blessings, it's about giving back. And so doing shoe drives and backpack drives for your community is what it takes, it's what's important. And so having that community love and giving it right back it is how you sustain, right? And I think
agree.
that was great. Is how you put that. That is sustainability, and so we definitely wish you the best. And I will be there tomorrow because I need a new jumpsuit.
I got you.
Give me a jumpsuit.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming by, man. Being able to support the show.
And I hate to say that to black folks, but you're smart. I hate that when we say that because it's like, well, that's supposed to be dumb. But I mean, your forethought, you could tell, and that's also why you're going to sustain. It's because of your forethought.
Y'all gold tooth brothers.
I call it,
and of course, and that's also why you're going to sustain. Because
I call it being woke. Like we all woke.
Yeah.
Right here, there's people that sleep. Yeah. They woke, but they sleep.
Yeah. I'm not woke from like the political sense. I'm woke of like I'm alive and I understand and I see what it is and I see what this world has to offer up. Couple last things before we go. Make sure you head over to our link tree, linktr.ee/BRBD. And the reason why I didn't do that is because this cool hat, Black Republican that you see on my head. We also have Black Democrat hat.
I gotta wear mine.
You gotta wear yours.
Well, mine's is in the car. It's I'm old school. It's in the back. It's in the back window.
It's because
that's old school for real.
You're too old for school. See? That's because he loves the Cowboys. But if you go to our Patreon, patreon.com/BRBD, or go to our link tree to get there. The first 25 subscribers are going to get a customized Black Republican, Black Democrat
and we got 7 new ones you told me last week,
That's right? Yeah.
So keep it up. Come on, y'all.
It's going fast,
come on.
First 25 subscribers. Make sure you guys like this video, share it with your friends, follow everybody that's been on the show on Instagram, on Facebook. Show some support, show some love. And next week we have
booked up.
So next week we have Governor Shaw. Governor candidate, he's not governor. Dr. Shaw.
Right,
Dr. Shaw.
Governor of where?
Yeah. And then the week after that, we have Jai Hansen, who's running for Hennepin County. So we got a couple.
And in the mix of that, we're going to do a couple of segments of some of the candidates that lost.
Yeah.
You always have the winners on.
Right. Yeah. You might have the losers.
Yes. And so we're not trying to call you losers, but, the guys and gals that didn't win, we're going to do just a 8-10 minute segment. Try to do that every week with one of those losers. I mean, one of those candidates. I don't want to call
You
them
don't have a
losers.
headphone. I was gonna ask Tevin. Tevin, did you ever get my segment thing? I don't know if we can do it today, but
Well, I just ranted already. My 2 minutes are up.
You already got your
My
rant
Rittenhouse
done?
would have been my Rittenhouse.
Your Rittenhouse rant. Your Rittenhouse rant. But our next week we're gonna be unveiling a new segment. It's called Off My Chest, and it's gonna be a good one. You guys are gonna enjoy it. I'm AK Kamara,
I'm just Jamar.
and we're Black Republican, Black Democrat.
Make sure you go check out Just Imagine, the Egg Roll Queen, and Webermart. Make sure you check out all our sponsors, but especially my man right here. He's gonna put you together, put you in some do that make you do. That's coming. I'm Black.
Peace.
Peace.